There is a very good chance that you're missing out on overall damage output and you don't even realize it. In today's video, we're going to be highlighting a handful of tips and tricks that you may not already be aware of on how you can maximize the overall damage output of your build, regardless of what your weapon combinations are. If you find this video helpful, consider hitting that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on future tips and tricks as well. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. First things first, when it comes to actually tuning your gear, I want to make it crystal clear that there should be no situation where you are not tuning every single slot with at least a gold shell. A lot of people don't realize how easy it is to actually get gold shells. And to be a little bit more specific, let's say I'm tuning this piece of gear, I should not just be throwing a bunch of experience at it and kind of crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. In every single situation, you should be locking in a gold shell for each attribute slot at the very least at this point in the game. In case you don't have a ton of these already, simply just play the game, do some joint battles and things like that, and chances are you'll get a huge stack of these purple shells. Well, if you actually go into the crafting menu, you can convert 3 of the purple shells into 1 of the gold shells. Again, it is not worth the risk on even getting a potential purple attribute when tuning gear at this point in the game. In the long story short, you're just going to be wasting gold if you don't use this method. So again, make sure you stock up on your purple shells and actually craft them into these gold shells so that you have at least gold quality attributes while tuning every single piece of gear moving forward. Again, a lot of people don't realize that you can just simply convert them through this menu. So again, make sure you are doing this so you have the resources you need to at least get some decent tunes when tuning your gear. And speaking of just overall tunes and attributes, it's very important to take a closer look at the 2 weapons you are using in your build. To be more specific, I want you to take a look at the martial art talents and try to hit 100% just to hit the overall amount of damage output you can really get from each weapon. To be more specific, if you take a look at these items on the right side of your screen, you're going to see that things like my critical rate can increase based on my agility rate. So if I try to make sure I have at least 225 agility, I'm also going to pick up on additional critical rate based on this build. So with that being said, I want to try to hit 100% effectiveness on all of these items to really max out my overall damage output. Right now I only have 209 agility, so it honestly would not hurt if I get 1 more agility tune on one of my pieces of gear to hit that maximum threshold to get the most out of this critical rate boost. Same situation here too, I can increase the physical damage of my rodents by 9% in this build, for example, if I have at least 750 minimum physical attack. Yes, you can get over that, of course, just like any attribute, but you do want to try to make sure you hit that threshold right here just to get the most out of the potential bonus across the board. Every single martial art has different specific thresholds too, so it's important to make sure you take a look at these to really get the most out of it. I think a lot of these actually do have specific bonuses based on agility, so make sure you take a closer look at that too, but some of them mix things up like with critical damage, critical rate, and things like that. And I'm sorry, but I just have to include this. So many people sleep on the power of food. Not only just overall HP recovery food, but more importantly, things like camel milk wine. And again, every time there's a level threshold increase, there's also new foods associated with potential builds to just boost overall damage output. Camel milk wine, for example, will increase your physical attack by 70 to 140 for 30 minutes. And it's not that hard to actually craft it too. Just get the ingredients and you can craft a bunch of these. Easy peasy. It's so easy to do this. Same with just HP recovery food or even increasing max HP. There are just tons and tons of foods out there. Just make sure you explore the map because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky in regards to how do you actually get the recipes. But regardless, you can actually use this food for a ton of in-game activities. The only things that food does not have an impact on are trials. So again, even PvP situations, if you pop a camel milk wine before doing some arenas, you are directly increasing your damage output. So many people, again, do not realize it, just consume it, and it's an easy DPS boost, so you might as well do it. The next thing worth calling out is just being aware of some of the Divinecraft materials you have, because it's very, very easy to run out of these resources and not even realize it. So for example, I have 0 toxic powder, and this can drastically increase your overall damage output in basically every scenario in the game. In order to actually stock up on this, there's a handful of different things you can do, but one of the easiest ways to do it is simply just by gathering wild mushrooms. And honestly, wild mushrooms are like all over the map, so you might as well just explore a little bit and see what you can do. I actually have this mount which makes the gathering process a whole lot easier too, but as you can tell, I am gathering a ton of these mushrooms and I'm stacking up on water wax as well. It's just very important to make sure you have these, because some of the Divinecrafts can just lead to direct damage output, especially the poison one. Again, I mean, if you haven't taken a closer look at this, it literally calls out increased execution damage. It's doing a damage over time effect as well with the poison, and it's just easy damage output that a lot of people don't even have. And again, a lot of you guys may already be aware of this, but if you're not, you can actually set this to auto use by going to options and the game menu and scrolling all the way down and turning this to auto use. This will auto apply these items so you're not missing out on these extra damage boosting effects. So again, make sure you have a decent stash and use them if you're ever stuck on a difficult boss or just PvE situation. I could go on and on for probably hours, but I did want to just highlight those few unique ways to boost your damage. Regardless though, and long story short, there are tons and tons of ways on how you can boost your damage, even if it's a little piece at a time. I'm talking about overall maximizing the develop stage of your character and making sure that you're hitting max level for each gear slot. I'm talking about specific tunes for each piece of gear, and just making sure you have every piece to every portion of your build to maximize damage output and just make your life as easy as possible, and getting the top of those overall damage output scoreboards. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for some more Where Winds Meet content coming very, very soon. Thanks again. Bye.